Right, hello. So I thought there'd be no theme really for tonight. If people want to talk about coronavirus as usual, they can talk about coronavirus. If people wanted to talk about gas masks or Geiger counters or whatever, I thought we'd just do that, give us all a break from talking about corona non-stop, for kind of being the majority of the stream type thing. Right. So hello to everybody just joining. I don't know if anybody heard what I was saying at the beginning if you were just joining, but basically I said there's no real theme for tonight. So if people want to talk about whatever. Still had headaches today and things like that, but a lot less achy than I was. Right, Richard? No, I have no idea what you're on about, Arnold. Can you simplify it a bit for explain to us? €25 for a Draeger M65 is alright, but again, M65s totally come down to do they fit you alright? Bought one. Actually, I never got an S10 off eBay. I got one S10 from a car boot sale, another from an army surplus store. Not hard to get. Wow, they might be now. They never used to be. Yep, it's the Geiger that's just there. I've got it ticking away. I'll turn it off if it gets too irritating. It should be fine at all. The main issue with Yugo M2s is they might randomly mount. That British Army one I've got, the one that's there, I'm not going to get it out because it's buried, but the what do they call it, Virtus Revision 2 or whatever, because it's the one I've got that offers the best protection. Each tick is an ionization in the Geiger tube. I'm like getting over it now, White Wolf. I'm still a bit achy and still feel a bit, tired and all that, but today's been a lot better than the previous day, thank you. Yeah, it's just as to all the issue is apparently some people have them and then they melt when they go to want to use them, but oh dear, approvedgasmask.com. I hope you didn't pay too much. For people saying should you wear masks if you're in an urban area, populated area, I'd say so, yes, especially on public transport. All right, little vamp. Yawning is contagious, man. I already answered you, Lucas. Don't keep asking the same question over and over. There's not a really well-known list, Ellis. I think diabetes, asthma, and heart conditions are listed, but I bet there's a lot more than that. Russian poster on civil defense masks. Yep, Polish MP5s are fine. I have no idea what you mean by that. You can't say if schools will be opened or closed. They'll decide in a week. What? Is hypertension a heart thing, Bart? The old British rate meters. If you've got a PAPA system, you can use it with a normal mask normally. If you're on about specific filters for PAPA units, probably not. Yeah, if you didn't hear, the UK is basically saying they're not going to bother testing anymore, or only testing for the worst things. So yeah, the UK is just hiding numbers at this point. Oh, it is Friday the 13th. I hadn't noticed, but Well, I should have noticed that because 13 O'Clock Podcast did a review of 2 of the Friday the 13th films. So I should include when I saw that, but I didn't even think. I want to do a little experiment. I want to see if the big bit of radium that came out with DP63 whites out the webcam with gamma rays. So let's test this, shall we? Right. Here we go. Looks pretty unassuming, doesn't it? But I want to just see on webcam if it gets lots of white flashes on the screen. Annoyingly, it's not really dark enough. That's a bit better. I think I can see some on the screen, but again, not loads because of the activity level. Yeah, if you're wondering what I was doing. That. Alright, pop that back there for now. You won't find reasonable price masks anymore because we've been over this quite a few times. If you didn't buy masks back when you were urged to do it, before everybody started panic buying them, you're not going to get them at a decent price. Sorry, but you missed the boat on this one, didn't you? That's annoying, Rich. I don't know why it would be, but again, sometimes, you can't seem to do much about that, can you? I'm just going to close some things on my end in case they're affecting it, but probably, yeah, like you said, your end. Yeah, £15 is a good price for a Romanian M74. It should work if it's in good condition. Yeah, like I was saying earlier at the start of the thing, we can talk about coronavirus if people want to on this stream, but I thought it'd be more one where we could just chat about whatever if people wanted a bit of a less depressing stream. Oh, excellent, Mike. What type of sword did you get? I didn't know you were getting a sword. Was that like a katana or something you were getting? I don't know. We were kind of talking about the UK government's failures last night on last night's stream, and by this point I just thought, oh, fuck it, we're all going to die. Again, yesterday's stream was mostly about that, so I don't want to keep reiterating it, but I've got a video, I think it's the one that comes out tomorrow, where I did my opinions on it in a video form, but for the most part I think it's pretty stupid. How we're one of the only countries in the world at the moment not taking countermeasures. Here's the problem, Shadex. If I put non-copyrighted music in the background, you can still get a strike for it, so I don't use music at all. And you can't do it via YouTube streaming thing anyway. I'd have to put OBS on, and then you get a lag on the streams. I can't show them on streams anymore, sadly, Astor, but the Avon SLR, all the ones I've got I've shown in the videos, so if you saw the video, you've seen them all. Okay. Let me block the person spamming the chat. There we go. Cheers, Datvic. Yeah, but you'd want to water down the bleach, I'd imagine. All right, Visa? Because the thing is with bleach, not all bleaches are the same. Like some bleaches have sodium hydroxide in. There's some sodium hypochlorite or whatever it's called. So you kind of want to know what's in the bleach first, because some bleaches will be more dangerous to rubbers and plastics than others. But in general, Pretty much all filters have white fiber, and if they've got paper or whatever in a particulate layer. Oh, pardon. I don't know if the CF4 has asbestos, and I don't think so. Yeah, I'll add you now, guess who, and invite you to the server. Thank you. I'll need to load up Discord, but just give me a minute. Yeah, I'm quite tired tonight, but at least I was able to get up at a decent time this morning where I didn't feel, completely achy and just kind of knocked out. So there was that. That was good, at least. And yeah, at least I'm off work this weekend because I've got it booked as holiday. Invite to server. Two helmets. That one is a firefighter helmet, the Polish one. It's made of like a weird plastic. That one isn't. It's a civil defense helmet. Swiss civil defense helmet. Quite a few years, Gustav, like prior to me doing this YouTube channel. So if the YouTube channel started in 2012, probably 2 or 3 years prior to that. How many rebreathers do I have? 3 rebreathers, but at the moment I've only got 1 non-activated rebreather canister. So in theory, I could only use 1 rebreather. Nope. That's not good, is it? If they're actual... So is that a doctor survive or like a medical politician type person? Cheers, Bibiana Kralovenska. Is that how your name's pronounced? Sorry, I'm probably going to butcher that as always that I do. As I've said over and over again, Jeremiah, French arthurs, or however they're pronounced, aren't very good. The reason being the mask design itself is good. The rubbers it's made out of are crap. So basically, if you want to get that design, get the Polish MP5. It's a licensed version of it, but it's made to a much better standard. Whereas if you get the French one, it's quite likely that lots of the rubber will just have dried out and gone brittle. Just to make it obvious, anybody spamming the chat with weird messages is just getting a block. Cheers, Sniper Sight. Did you see the Brit viral pneumonia interview? No, what's this about? I assume it's something to do with coronavirus, is it? No, I've not heard of this at all. What is it? The only thing I've seen to sort of interviews to do with corona was when they had some of the Italian sort of ministers on saying almost like, what the hell is Britain doing? No and no, Ghosty Boy. Toilet paper, they've sold, like, out of, like, the brands people like, they're not completely sold out, but they're a lot, a lot lower than normal. But they're not sold out at all. With water, they've not really been any different at all. I don't think most people are buying lots of water over here. Right, just to make it obvious for people, with this chat, as much as it doesn't have to be, related to Corona, I'd rather it didn't turn into completely random, like, what's your favourite food type questions. Cheers, Sniper Sight. Okay, I saw one with a guy being interviewed about it, saying, like, it started off like a cold, then it was a flu, and then it was, like, pneumonia. But if that's the guy, what pissed me off about his interview is then he kept basically going, oh, the CCP was so great. It was a good thing that the Chinese government just fixed everything. I mean, the people who made the problem in the first place, because they, purged people talking about it, yeah. GP5 James is 40mm GOS, not 40mm NATO. Oh, they had somebody on television again earlier where they asked them, do masks work? And they said no. You think, Jesus fucking Christ, at least be honest with people. Do masks work? No, but we need them for doctors. No, one filter slot is fine. The majority of masks only use one filter. They're probably just out of frame, Pete. Thank you, Frank the Fetus. He says, do people ever send you money on here? Yeah, people have been doing it, like you. If so, do you prefer pounds or USD? Well, in all honesty, it doesn't matter the currency. Obviously, the more the better. Not to sound greedy, but just in general, that's the same with any currency. But in terms of what I get, I get paid in pounds sterling anyway, because when YouTube pays you out, they just pay you in whatever your currency is. So basically, no matter what countries people donate from, it just adds on to the advertising balance that I get paid each month. Well, again, but they didn't. The thing is, when they say about surgical masks, they never specified a mask. So anybody watching, they just literally get told masks don't work. But if in the same sentence they say we need masks for doctors, they're obviously referring to two different types of masks, aren't they? I wouldn't say it's worth £55, but again, it depends what the condition of it is, which filter it's coming with, and all that sort of stuff. Only if you have a blanking plug, Gustavs. If you don't have a blanking plug, you will always be breathing through both filters. Cheers, Chris. He says, I've stopped shaking hands with people. You never know who has toilet paper. Right, let me add you on Discord. I need to take the space out, don't I? We've had some more cases in my local area as well, but I don't want to get doxxed, so I'm not going to say exactly where that is. There was somebody I had to block yesterday, not that he'd really done anything wrong in the chat, but because it was somebody I knew in real life, and he kept saying about local areas. I thought, no, I'm just going to have to get rid of him, because he's probably going to go, oh yeah, you live, and then like say nearly exactly where I live, and think, for fuck's sake. Particulate protection, Aiden, but if you've got, or Aiden, but if you've got if you've got like a combination filter, as in like, you know, ABEC 1, P3, that's better than just P3 on its own, but you only need P3, P100. Is this the thing about it living 9 days on the surface? OG Zombie Blunt. Right, just to there was something I was going to reply to somebody then, and I've completely slipped my mind now because of all the comments rushing past. But in general, I think in the UK it's been completely stupid. They basically decided at one point, oh, we can't be even bothering to check people coming in on flights anymore. The CF4 has got different filter medium than the GP5. Whether or not the CF4 has asbestos in, I don't know. If you ask me which would I rather use, a CF4 filter or GP5, definitely CF4. Wow, thank you very much, Frank the Fetus. Do you have a Discord? Because you're definitely welcome on the server if you do. If you've got any questions about masks or whatever, please ask away. But yeah, I do really appreciate that. More protective in what sort of way, Joe? What Climax mask is it? Like the Climax 731 or one of the industrial type ones? Yeah, if you... We'll wait till people get back on the topic. That's probably just charcoal leaking out, Polaris. But yeah, if you have questions, Frank, please ask if you've given such a big donation. All right, Climax 755756. Let me look that one up, Joe, because again, problem with the Climax masks are like 3M, aren't they? Where they have loads of different names. Right, oh, it's the half face one. Right, what I would recommend you do is, unless you have the P3 bit, you know, like the P3 P100 bit at the front, you could tape a dust mask over the front of the filter. That way, it would actually you know, add more particulate protection. But other than that, there's not much you can do. Obviously, wear goggles if you're using a half face mask for eye protection. Which 60mm filter was it, Dark Shadow? Because there's more than one 60mm filter. If it's an M9 filter, I'd highly advise using it, not using those. If it was a Finnish or a Canadian filter, it's probably not too bad. But again, don't use old filters, really. Right, John, let me explain this to you. Basically, when you have a virus or anything like that in the air, it's piggybacking off something else, if that makes sense. So if somebody's sneezing or coughing, the particulates or the microns aren't freely flowing about. They have to be basically on spittle or, you know, like sneezy, phlegm type stuff, whatever. So if somebody sneezes or coughs, it's not magically turning into a really, really thin airborne thing. So even if the micron is small, it's attached to something that's bigger. And the filter medium is big enough to stop those, you know, small enough getting that big. Does that make sense? It's one of those things where it's kind of, I feel like I'm over-explaining it, but also under-explaining it at the same time. Be kind of like if you've got something small attached to something big, and the filter is fine enough to not stop the smallest thing, but to block the big thing, because the small thing is attached to the big thing, it gets clogged. Well, I don't have a lot of the gear they'd have for obvious reasons, Hunter, but they had the S6 gas mask, or SR6. As far as I'm aware, Jack, once it's on a surface, it's only going to come off that surface if something touches it and it then clings to something else. Evidence would seem to apply so that it is fully airborne. So, as in, when it comes to being airborne, basically, when you're breathing out, you're probably breathing it out as well. But it seems most of the time, yeah, exhaling. It seems most of the time it is mostly, I guess, in terms of going further distances when people sneeze or cough, because I'm guessing it's got more projection force. But again, I'm not a virologist, so I'm just kind of trying to repeat the stuff I've, you know, heard listening to channels where the people really understand how shit spreads about like that. Thank you again, Frank the Fetus. If you're in the US, that's probably an all right price. The problem is, in the US, they're quite inflated in price. Well, saying that in the UK, all the masks are inflated as well. But, okay, so in the UK, it used to be you could get S10s for like £15 to £30, maybe a bit more than that, which is about $20 to $50, maybe. Let's say that sort of price range. Over time, S10s have been going up in value because they're getting rarer and rarer just due to the fact that, you know, they're not being used by the British Army anymore, so they're not still being produced and then turning up on the surplus market as essentially new or recently second-hand items. And in America, there was just a far lot less of them available in the first place. So yeah, if you got an Avon S10 recently for that price in America, considering what prices masks are going for at the moment, that's quite decent, especially if the S10's in good condition. I'm all right, RJB. My flu symptoms are subsiding quite a bit, so you know, that's good. The watcher said, scroll up and read what I said. He said, I talked to a microbiologist, and he said when you breathe into the mask, the micron size of the filter on the mask becomes smaller and hence stops the virus passing. Well, I don't know exactly how that would work with filters. I imagine a filter wouldn't get smaller. The more you're breathing through a filter, the more fine the filter will get because of stuff clogging the filter. So the more dust that gets into a particulate filter, the finer it does get, as in it's harder for stuff to get through it. But filters don't physically sort of contract the more you breathe through them, because they're sort of designed to obviously always be If I can get any again, Hunter, I will do a video on chemical detection paper. The issue is most of the chemical kits I've ever looked at have been expired chemical detection paper, which is pretty much useless. You know, it's like litmus paper that's dried out. And sometimes you can get the disposable chemical kits where you have to break like a glass vial, and then it'll turn a colour to tell you what gas is in the air. Of course, if I used one, I'd just literally be breaking something and then going, oh, look, it's not done anything because there's no gas. Yeah, I definitely recommend the S10, Toby. I prefer the FM12 CT12, which was kind of the later derivative of it. But, well, certainly not this year, Dark Shadow, if you've been looking at the news. Ukraine's banned all flights coming in now anyway, hasn't it? So, no, don't pressure him, Daniel, into doing any more. I always feel a bit guilty when people give me a lot of money. Halon said, will cleaning a P3 filter with a relatively low pressure under 2-bar air compressor damage it? It could do. Thank you very much again, Frank the Fetus. He said it was in pretty good condition. It has minor scratches, but nothing that's too problematic. I'm just concerned about the mask fitting you out. I bought a medium size. I'm not sure if that will be bad. I measured my head properly and it was 67 centimeters. It should be absolutely fine. Let me get an S10. I should have one in the room somewhere handy. I can show it you. The S10 has quite good adjustable straps, at least. Right. Can a filter stop a virus? Yes, is the answer to that. Right. Here's my S10 with the red outserts on. So let me try and demonstrate this to you. I'll put the filter on as well. But yeah, if I show these, this is a size, I think it's a size 2. Yeah, size 2 S10. Did you say yours was a size 2? Medium size. So yeah, you have a size 2 or 3 because S10s come in 1 to 4. So 2 and 3 is medium. So I'll show you the strap system. S10s have quite adjustable straps. They have clasps that are a bit finicky to open and close. But basically, you've got a 6-point harness. And obviously, as you can see, there's a lot of room to adjust the straps. You can also put custom straps on it if you decided, you know, you didn't like these straps at all. But yeah, there's generally quite a lot of room for adjustment for the S10 straps. The other thing with the S10 is the straps themselves are kind of stretchy. So in general, you can, once you've got the S10 adjusted to your size, you don't need to do much with it because obviously it's permanently, you know, set to your size. They're actually outserts because they're on that side. Otherwise, they would be inserts, yeah. But yeah, that's what I like with the S10. So you can kind of just take it off and on like that with the straps. As much as I do like the FM12 straps more, because the FM12 has the fabric straps, and they are more comfortable, this definitely has the better straps for just quickly putting the mask on and off. Because you basically just pre-adjust it when you first get it, and then it's always good for getting on and off quickly. But yeah, so I think your S10 would be absolutely fine because, again, most of it comes down to just tightening the straps to make it tight enough on your face. Oh, here's the thing. It has a higher R0 than regular flu. Well, it's not, firstly, it's not flu virus, so let's talk about that. So it's not a flu virus, so it's not influenza, but let's say we're making comparisons with the flu. It has a much higher R0 than the flu. We don't know exactly what at the moment, But regular flu does not have an R naught of probably 4 to 6, as in everybody that gets it spreads to 4 to 6 people on average. So it spreads much, much easier than regular flu, and it also has a much higher mortality rate. It looks like something 30 to 50 times the mortality rate of regular seasonal flu. And regular flu does not shut down hospitals and things like that, just to how many people it infects. Gem, you want P3/P100 filters, as in ones that are designed for particulates. Cheers, Frank. I think it should fit you fine. I mean, you might get really unlucky with some masks, where even if you measure your head and everything with the size mask should fit, they should be fine. But the S10 as well has quite a good peripheral seal. So that's this bit with the mask, you know, where the rubber kind of does that. So where it does that, even if your face isn't all that, you know, the same shape as it with the straps tightened right, it should work well. The issue with some masks, and this is the thing I keep saying when people ask, is the M65 good? Is they don't have very good peripheral seals. So the issue is, if your face isn't the exact size as like the oval of the mask, doesn't matter how much you tighten the straps, there's always going to be air getting past. Aidan, you don't have to replace particulate filters pretty much at all ever, unless you're constantly sanding and doing stuff like that with them. Particle filters last absolutely ages because they only slowly clog over time when dust and crap like that gets in them. No, Hunter, I don't have any masks I'm willing to sell at the moment, mostly because I collect them. At the moment, I've just been giving out masks for free to family and friends. So basically, if any of them need a mask, I'm like, no, here's a mask, have it. Well, I think the problem is, Garza Runner, we might not know, Eve, because a lot of governments are basically saying, oh, we're not doing test kits anymore, or, you know, they're underplaying numbers, or you're only going to know potentially the worst cases of it, because they're the people who would end up in hospital with it. So, yeah, it's hard to say, but, you know, I don't reckon we'll get really accurate numbers, because the thing is, you never know, you know, unless somebody's been tested for it and their test result comes back, you can't really say if they've got it or not, can you? I wouldn't use a Hugo M1 filter personally, no. The Swiss SM67, John, is just a standard 40mm NATO mask, so just get any, sorry, P3, P100 or combination filter. They'll be absolutely fine, Safi, because of the P3 bit. Again, P3 means particulate level 3, same as P100 on the US system, and that means it's just very good in terms of protection. I was watching some weird videos from London earlier, and it was really, really strange seeing London, you know, with barely any people in certain spots of it. I don't particularly like London. I haven't been there in ages, but, you know, it's just strange when you see on the news people in, like, a place that would normally be crowded with tourists, and there's, like, maybe 6, 7 people standing around taking pictures. Black mask right behind me. You looking at that one? That's a Scott M110. A lot of people call this one the M95, but this is the M110 variant because it doesn't have the drinking tube system on. But let me just show you this. So again, I have to take my glasses off. This is actually very comfortable and nice. I'd recommend the M98 or Pro Mask derivatives over this one, but this is still very good. There you go. Not really much of a speech diaphragm in this one. A bit of your voice will come out there and there, but If you have the MP4 filters designed for NBC warfare, yes, because on pretty much all the cheek filter masks, they all had at least one set of filters that were designed for, like NBC warfare. So the B in that is biological warfare. So it'd be anthrax spores, and stuff that could be distributed to essentially infect people. So in that regard, they are going to have very small particulate protection. The nice thing, at least with a virus, as much as it's not a nice thing, but is that you don't need the same levels of protection that you would for certain chemical weapons. Like very specialized filters and like rubbers that won't break down too quickly. Right, Heisenberg, would a GP5 filter protect you from coronavirus? Potentially, however, due to the age of the GP5 and the GP5's filter, and the fact that GP5's got a bit of dodgy stuff inside the filter, I would not recommend using it unless you had nothing else and were really, really thought I need to wear a mask and filter. All right. Let me read the super chat, sorry, and then I'll get back to your question, Exploring with Matt, because I want to answer that. He said, Frank, thank you again, Frank. He said, sorry if this is a dumb thing to ask, but an FM12 is still usable if you replace the outserts with like red outserts, right? Yeah, ES10 and FM12s and all those, if you replace the outserts, all they're going to do is just basically tint your vision. The red ones, I've heard two things for the red ones. They are either designed for seeing better in the dark, due to the fact, obviously, it puts like a red light filter over your eyes, so your pupils don't dilate as much. Or is it the other one, the opposite of dilate, where they turn into pinpricks? Contract, yeah, stop your pupils contracting. Or it was apparently for certain types of laser designators. Yeah, post your ID, young rail enthusiast. And you get like the mirrored type ones, which are for flashbang grenades and things like that. But again, it means if you're in the dark, they're going to be counterproductive. But the nice things with the outserts on the Avon masks, I've heard it's not as easy to take them on and off the FM12, but at least with these, they literally just snap on and snap off. It's nowhere near as bad as some of the masks I've got, where you have to like fold back some rubber and then kind of hold them over and then flip the rubber backwards. Right, Joey says, if the virus gets bad, would you stay in your house or would you travel? In the UK, I think you'd have to bug in just simply because of the fact that how population dense an area we are. But yeah. Right, let me add you as well, young rail enthusiast, and then invite you to the server. It doesn't like your name. It says, didn't work. Double check that the capitalization, spelling, and spaces and numbers are correct. So if you double check your name for me and then post it again, if you click at the bottom, I think left of Discord, you should be able to get it up on there. Like it should auto copy it to the clipboard for you. Yeah, there's quite a lot of videos on my channel about filters, James, Jim, Jimmy. So just have a search on the videos. Then if there's not one where you can find an answer, come back on a later stream and ask. I used to basically be able to reply to every single comment I got and try and answer people there, but now the views are gone mad. I can't really do that anymore, unfortunately. So at the moment, it's generally, if you want to ask me a question, it's best to just ask it a few times in the stream and hope I notice it. Right, has young rail enthusiast reposted his Discord ID? What country are you in, Truth, Love and Honour? I mean, that makes sense to ban big gatherings, because again, if lots of people are packed in a crowd, you can spread a virus easily. Interestingly enough, the government was going, oh, we don't need to ban football games and all that, and then most of the FA Cup and all the different leagues decided to just not do football anyway, because it's a bit pointless of everybody getting in. Right, Red Peril. In terms of what do I think, I think it's going to be bad, quite bad. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world or anything like that, because, throughout human history, we've yet to be wiped out as far as we're aware by stuff, and, everybody die off. But I think it's going to be quite bad in both economic impacts, social impacts, and, the amount of people that will die and everything like that. And again, it's just because it's something that's very infectious, can potentially be quite fatal to certain groups, or if you're just unlucky by the sound of it, And of course, it has lots of knock-on effects. Right, has young rail enthusiast worked out his Discord ID yet? I'll try posting the horse meat one in again, just in case it wants to work. No. I'll wait for him to get back again. Ah, there we go. Right, let's try that again for you. Let's see if I can get that to work this time. Yeah, it's worked that time, even though it didn't look any different to me, but there we go. That's Discord being Discord. As I was saying, Kev, a bit earlier about the Polish MP4 filters, with the M10, there's different variants of filters. If you get the NBC filters, as in nuclear, biological, chemical, they should be yes, because the NBC filters were basically designed for, as they say, nuclear, biological, chemical. Biological being the bit that's important. Whereas the issue is with the particulate filters, I don't know if they're actually like P3 sort of levels of decency. So I'd say if you've got the NBC filters, it would be fine. If you've just got some old random filters for it and you don't know which ones they are, don't rely on them. Right, and where is horse meat on my friends list so I can invite him to the server? I'll go back to the chat in a second. There he is. Right, server. Done. I don't actually know who manufactures them, James. I know such things obviously exist, but I think you'd either have to find like an optician type company that does them to specification for you, or you'd have to either like take the arms off glasses you've already got, or see if there's just any second-hand ones on eBay or something that are close enough to your prescription. Because I know when the actual militaries and that have them, they're like kind of done to order prescription kits, normally done by the mask manufacturers. Would a Polish MC1 work, Ellis? Yes, it would, but ideally put a new filter on it rather than using the old MS4 filter. But an MS4 filter might be good enough. I assume it's dumb brain because a lot of people just don't like the idea of their life ever having to change in any way. I don't really know, but I think generally when there's a lot of emergencies, you seem to get people that don't seem to ever take them seriously. Up until recently, Gem, P3 or P100 filters used to be like $5 to $10 or pounds in the UK in a lot of places. Now they're probably a lot more expensive, but they used to be very cheap because they're literally just hardware kind of sanding, grinding filters. But didn't the markets on one of the Fridays, like last week, go back up a bit and then, you know, it crashed again on Monday? So I don't know if the markets are actually going to fix themselves at this point, because if they go up a few percent after crashing like 10% the day before, that's not really fixed, is it? Let me look up that 731 Climax mask for you, Levan. If you have combination filters, it should be fine. Yeah, that'll be absolutely fine. Oh, the Climax 731 is the one I have, isn't it? The orange and purple one. Yeah, that'll be absolutely fine with a combination filter, because you'll have the P3 and the chemical bit to it. Right, going back to that question on what's my favourite radiation detecting equipment for the guy that asked that. In some ways, I really like the rate meters because they go up to 5K counts per second, and they have like a thing for screwing in probes, so you can put whatever probes you want on them. For practicality, my Therapy, just because the Therapy is covers a really massive radiation range. But in terms of if you want me to pick something vintage that maybe a lot of people wouldn't say, I really like this MD3. It's the old British Mark II Radiax, but updated. It uses centigrades per hour rather than Rontgens per hour. And because you can open up the ionization unit underneath, you can actually read alpha, beta, and gamma with it. So if you put on like really hot bits of radium or whatever, you can measure them all the way up to 300 centigrade. And this is actually properly calibrated on centigrade, so I figured that out earlier. So 300 centigrade would be 100 centigrades would be 114 Rontgen. So I'm shit at maths. So 114, 228, 342 or something like that, is it? 342 Rontgen. But the point is, it goes up to quite a high measurement range, more than you'd ever actually need. It's not great if you want like something for measuring really low radiation ranges. I'm doing the wrong one there, aren't I? That's the one I wanted. Oh, thank you, Varna. He says, apparently 3M makes a 40mm to bayonet adapter. They're a little on the expensive side because of this whole virus thing. $35 for a pair. Right, let me add you. That's one of the things people had asked me to review before they got really expensive, but I never got round to it just because I don't think there was ever a UK supplier of them. So I had to order them from the US, you know, and then pay tax and everything on the import, and I never wanted to do it. But they're quite a good thing in theory, I imagine. The only thing is, I'd say, if you've only got a mask that takes 140mm filter, I think some people are saying they restrict airflow quite a lot, because obviously you're funneling, you know, like through a smaller gap. Let me see. I don't think I've got a 3M mask behind me, have I? No, I've not. Otherwise, I'd demonstrate it for you. But the point is, the 3M bayonet sizes are kind of a bit like that, whereas 40mm is more like that. So the point is, you know, it's a different size, really. Thank you very much again, Frank Fetus. Yeah, let me add you, because thank you very much for all the donations. I really appreciate that. Yeah, at the moment, I've actually just been getting a few more masks for family members and things like that, in all honesty. But who knows? Who knows when this is going to end? Thank you very much, Oleg. He says, hey, quick question. I have an Israeli sieve mask that was made before the additional facelift. It's never been used, medium size in a box with some sealed tan filters. Would you say that is okay to use? That'd be absolutely fine. What's the additional facelift in it? Do you mean the oral nasal cup? The bit that goes like that? Otherwise, I'm not sure. But my Israeli 4A1's quite an old one, so maybe it's the newer one. Maybe yours would be the same as my one anyway. No, a plague doctor mask would not work, I'm afraid, because a plague doctor mask doesn't actually have a filter medium. You see, back in the day with plague doctors, I mean, it would kind of protect your face from some horrible stuff splashing on it, but plague doctors put, like, herbs and things like that in the masks because they believed in something called the miasma theory, and miasma is basically... Before they understood germ theory, they thought bad smells caused disease. And you can kind of understand the logic behind that. They were on the right track, but not really correct. So the issue is, obviously, if you have a mask where you put nice, you know, smelling flowers, herbs, spices, and things like that in the nose bit, it doesn't really filter anything. I mean, it does act a bit as a filter medium, so it'd be more protective. You know, hope it would... No, it would do more than not having a filter. If somebody said, you're going to be exposed to stuff, would you like a plague doctor's mask or no mask? I'd rather have a plague doctor's mask with the beak filled with flowers and all that. But in terms of do they work in a way we, you know, as gas masks work today with, like, say, a combination particulate and carbon filter or impregnated carbon filter for actually all the different filter medium? No. Just simply because, you know, obviously... herbs and spices aren't really as good a filter medium as proper thing. But yeah, better than nothing. Again, the thing is with those masks is, yes, they're going to protect you from having, like, horrible stuff splash on your face. And they do put a bit of a barrier between you and the outside. The problem was as well, back with plague doctors and all that during the Great Plague, is they didn't understand cross-contamination. So often they could probably go back home and then they just dump all their, like, dirty, pus-covered, you know, outfit next to their bed and contaminate themselves that way. It's kind of interesting when you think back to, like, you know, and people in the future, I'm sure, will think of all the stupid stuff we did during our time period. But, you know, it's quite interesting when you look at some bits in the past where people kind of had some ideas that are almost factual, but they're not quite factual. If I get some spare ones of those filters, yes, Rope. The issue is, at the moment, I've not got spares of those. I've got an Polish FP6 filter I'm meant to be cutting open at some point, and I've not got round to it yet. Bex, I've been putting in for more of my prescriptions at the moment, just so I've got a bit more of a stockpile of them. Thank you again, Oleg. He said, I think there is some additional facelift around the sides that was added in new model, said to help with sealing. Ah, yeah, that you mean the peripheral seal, don't you? Right, so what that is basically, when the outsets fell off, this sort of thing, peripheral seal. Yeah, so those greatly increase a mask's ability to make a good seal to your face. If it doesn't have those, let me just put that lamp on so you can see it a bit better. If it doesn't have those, it won't fit you as well unless you're the exact size for it. It doesn't mean it won't necessarily fit you. It's just, yeah, peripheral face seals are kind of like... Shit. Never mind. If you were wondering what that was, I think one of my masks fell off the shelf when I got the S10 down because one of the satchels then wasn't compressed on the shelf. But, yeah. To answer your question, if it doesn't have that peripheral seal, it's going to require your face to be much closer to the actual size. Yeah, zombie ghosts or poltergeists. Yeah, in general, if you get any modern masks, they generally make very good seals, even if you're not an exact size to them because of the peripheral seal. I can even show you that. So even if we look at like a half face respirator like that, how the rubber goes inwards like that, that's what makes the peripheral seal. In theory, older masks often are just kind of a seal like that. You know, if it was almost turned out like that, because, you know, it doesn't work as well. But by having something like that, there's more, you know, makes a better fit to the face. Nothing valuable got broken, at least. It's not knocked anything interesting off. It's just knocked some stuff, I think, like lighters off from the shelves when it went down. Right, Bex, see at the bottom of the chat, if it works for you, there's a little dollar symbol underneath the chat. That's the super chat thing where you can send like stickers or messages. Yeah, don't feel you have to if you don't want to, but yeah, that's just how it's done on YouTube. But I know a lot of people have said they're in countries where YouTube just doesn't let them do it for some reason. Right, Red Peril. The problem is we know like 1 in 5 people get very ill with it. And again, if you had a virus the majority of a population is going to catch, and 1 in 5 people are going to get very seriously ill or die from it, those aren't good numbers. They're not good metrics. You can stop spamming the thing now. I've answered you. Grey thing next to the mask I just showed. Grey thing. There's the Polish firefighter's plastic helmet, if you're looking at that one. There's a Geiger counter there. Are you on about the Geiger counter? Yeah, I should be on mic. I've got less of a headache tonight, but as I got up early, I might not stay up all night for your stream. I might go to bed earlier, but I've not got work tomorrow, but I want to try and get more into the, you know, feeling alert and awake and not fluey when I get up in the morning. And then feeling tired in the evening rather than, you know, getting up at like 1 in the afternoon feeling awful and then, you know, not being tired until like 2 in the morning. Yeah, it's a bit strange, Mitch Blitz, isn't it, that? But I suppose that's just because it's very isolated. A particle ghost might be radioactive. That's a very nerdy joke. But no, I don't think ghosts are radioactive. Although I'm pretty sure in Ghostbusters that they did have some sort of old Geiger counter or civil defense thing that was used as one of the props. Oh, thanks, Bex. But yeah, don't worry about it. I know YouTube Super Chat can be really annoying for some people. But yeah, I'm just glad to help people because, again, what pisses me off more than anything is when you see on the media a lot of the stuff where people will say, will a mask work? And they just say no. Because, again, I'll go back to the thing. I'll turn the Geiger off now. A few years ago, there was the thing where they had that thing erupts in Hawaii. the volcano in Hawaii. And loads of people wanted to know what masks to wear, to protect them from ash and volcanic vapors and things like that. And I think it was FEMA or somebody literally said, oh, masks don't help, don't ask, or basically, So basically, what I ended up doing was explaining to them all then, what the masks actually did. Sorry, did I miss a super chat from you, Frank the Fetus? He said it was in pretty good condition. It has minor scratches, but nothing too problematic. I'm just concerned about mask fitting. I bought a medium size. I'm not sure it would be bad. I measured I've read that one, haven't I? It's just YouTube seemed to re-pop it up for me. Thanks again. But yeah. So FEMA, whoever it was literally saying to the people, don't ask about masks. We're not going to tell you. You think they could have literally said to them, if you want to get a mask, you need to get ones that meet this criteria, otherwise don't bother. And it's pretty much the exact same thing with this thing, isn't it? Where people are asking about masks, and they just say, no, a mask won't protect you, but we need them for doctors. So if they were honest, what they could have said is, this is the type of masks you need. You need one that makes a good face seal, and it needs to have this kind of filtration ability, and all those sort of criteria. But the problem is, there's not enough supply to go around at the moment because nothing coming out of China and lots of overseas shipping not going or, doing anything. So doctors will be better suited to have the masks because if a doctor gets infected, they can't treat however many patients. That would have been an honest thing for them to say, but they don't say that. What they say is masks don't work, but we need them for doctors. So, but yeah, that's the sort of thing that annoys me. And obviously, like I said, I find all this stuff interesting, so I just like doing videos on it. Yeah, cheers, Gretchen. But yeah, I'm nearly back to normal now. I'm still a bit achy today and was a bit headachy, but in terms of if I was to give a number out of 10, I'm 7 or 8 out of 10 now, compared to 2 or 3 out of 10 earlier in the week. What's your opinion on GSR, better or worse than the S10 for city use? I definitely prefer the S10. The GSR, though, if you get one in good condition, does have the self-sealing filter design. So the GSR is kind of better in a sense of you probably struggle to make it leak. People could hear you with a GSR on better as well, because the GSR has the big speech diaphragm on the front. Did I see the comment you left on the ECBA review? No, unfortunately not. Mostly because I can't keep up with comments at the moment. When else did you make it? But if you just want to repost a comment here, I'll read it now. When you say electric air purifier, do you mean the PAPA systems, the PAPR pumps? I've used them before, but I'm not a massive fan of them because I can breathe all right on my own through a filter, and I do know they make a nice positive pressure. But I kind of don't like the idea that you're reliant on batteries not running out when you're using something like that. Yeah, let me add you, Blade, and then I can see if I can... yeah, Blades. Hang on, let me stop the chat from moving, and then I can add you. I don't actually know which one the DRM3 was. Oh, yes, you were saying it's the Yugoslavian one, weren't you? Let me add you now. I won't be chatting with people on Discord at the moment because I'm streaming, but yeah. But yeah, at the moment, stuff I've had in the post has either not come, it's delayed or whatnot. So I'd say at the moment, for people, don't worry about trying to send stuff. Right, here's a question for you, Redbird. In Canada, did they take it seriously up until the point government officials started getting it, or families of government members? Because I've noticed this is a bit of a trend in a lot of places. It's not until people right at the top get it that, it's ever taken seriously. So is it a sort of thing like that? Or am I being totally unfair on the Canadians, and did Trudeau do a good job right from the beginning? Not that Trudeau, I would ever say, does a good job on anything, because he's more like somebody who posts for Instagram, isn't he, or Twitter pictures. Thank you, FlipsideFish41, for a picture of JC Denton. Can I read your comment out in a JC Denton voice, if I can manage it? The UK government gambling with people's lives is disgusting. Sounds like they've given up trying herd immunity, which could end up with hundreds of thousands dying. By the way, did you see Iran mass graves? I saw the satellite picture of the like 2 big trenches they were digging, if that was the mass grave thing. But yeah, here's the thing. They're taking a massive gamble with the herd immunity thing, and I think it's a very dangerous thing to do. There's a reason why most countries are trying to contain it and, slow down the spread so hospitals can cope. Basically, coming up with the idea of let's just hope it all works out, I think is probably going to go tits up. What a shame. I want to play Deus Ex now. The plot of Deus Ex seems quite relevant, doesn't it? About a virus that was made in China to control politicians by infecting them, and then the company that makes the virus also makes the antidote. But better not get too political on these streams. I'm sure they've demonetized it anyway, so big thank you to everybody that donates. But yeah. Post Tyrone says, now what's his name's? He's got Gunther Herman on his picture as well. 60 bottles of beer sounds good, Sailor Ashore. Any particular brands, or was it just to get a load of cheap beer in? The thing is, Nathan, I don't think anybody, if they actually see it being a pandemic where people are dying in their country, are going to go, oh, I can't be bothered to follow the rules, I'm just going to want to die. I know there will always be pricks that are literally so selfish, but, I personally don't believe that. Yeah, it's June, July, isn't it, Crumpet? CNC Remastered comes a lot out. So if we're still alive at that point, I would love to get CNC Remastered. But yeah, we'll see if we're still alive at that point, eh? Mountain Blade Warband comes out at the end of the month. QAnon was something to do with Trump leaks, wasn't it? I really don't know enough about it. I know it was like something to do with White House leaks and stuff like that, but I know it got blown out of like, oh, is this person QAnon? Is that person QAnon? Mr. Potatoes God says, have a Polish MP4 and it was wondering where I could get filters for it. If I'm not mistaken, they use NBC filters. If you are able to use the big filters of it. Oh, sorry, someone just PM me on Discord. I didn't get around to sending an invite to. Right, there you go. I can try and get around to it, Smiling CJ. Last time I checked on them, my Yugo masks had not melted, so there's always that. My favourite's the original Command & Conquer still. Tiberian Dawn, I think they called it later on, didn't they? But just Command & Conquer or CNC 95. Red Alert's good as well. Red Alert 2 is pretty damn good. The problem is really just compatibility on new machines with how clunky they are to get to run on modern Windows. Right, I'm going to head off now because this is about the time Mike streams. But a massive thank you to everybody that's donated tonight. That's a really big thank you massively for that. I've already joined your group, Aussie Prepper. I don't view it very often because I'm a bit inactive on Discord a lot of the time. But yeah, see you all. And I hope the Command & Conquer remake series is good. Going on a bit of a more light-hearted thing. Speaking of Command & Conquer, before I go off, is everybody familiar with the amazing advertising poster they used to do for the original Command & Conquer? The previous high schools poster. Right, if you don't know what this is, just before I go off, search Command & Conquer high school poster and be amazed and know that they would never be allowed to do a poster like that again, ever again. I imagine it would upset a lot of politically correct people. But yeah. Right, so yeah, thank you everybody. See you. I'll be on Weapon Collector's stream in a few minutes, so see you then. Romanian M74 is a good mask, just as I go off. Goodbye.